Chickens to school. As punishment for leaving his trucks in the middle of the junction of the Little Western, Sir Topham Hatt sent Dennis to work at the coal mine in the heart of Sodor. He hated it there. He fussed around as he bumped the trucks into line. They gave him a lot of grief and sang rude songs about him to his face. The manager wasn't any better. He kept barking orders about Dennis like he was in the military. Dennis was miserable, but he knew he deserved it. Every night he would deliver coal to all the station houses. It was a very long journey and a very heavy train. Dennis worked all night racing through the countryside. Then he would deliver some coal to the coaling plant and to fill all the hoppers at the stations. He barely had time to rest, which was what he desperately needed. It had been a long, tiring week, but at last Dennis's work was done. He was very tired and trundled to Napford Sheds for a nice long rest. When he arrived at the sheds, Gordon was there waiting at a signal. "Oh, hello, Gordon," moaned Dennis. "Are you pulling the express today?" "Who else but me?" Gordon sniffed. "You're lucky," wheezed Dennis. "I've been working at the coal mines non-stop, and I'm tired out. I wish I'd had some help at the mines. Then I wouldn't be so tired." "Pah!" huffed Gordon. "A really useful engine like me never needs help. Only lazy engines need it." And he puffed away. Dennis was worried. He wanted to be a really useful engine, too. He didn't know Gordon was boastful and sometimes didn't have the best advice. A few minutes later, Sir Topham had arrived. "Good morning, engines," he said. "Now, I need one of you to run 3 important errands for me. Do I have a volunteer?" "I'll do it, sir," said Dennis quickly. He knew he was tired, but this was his chance to prove he was a really useful engine. Very well, Dennis," said Sir Topham Hatt. "I wasn't expecting you to volunteer so quickly. Now then, Farmer McColl's truck is a flat tire, so we need you to collect his chickens from his farm and take them to the market at Wellsworth. Then you must collect some sheep from the valley and take them to the farm. And lastly, Bertie has also broken down, so I need you to collect some change from Barron's Station and take them to the school at Dryer. Did you get all that, Dennis? Chickens to market, sheep to the farm, students to school. Got it! That's a good engine. I hope I can rely on you." And Sir Topham Hatt drove away. "That's a very big job for a little diesel," chuffed Murdoch. "You're bound to need some aid. I could take the animals and you collect the students." No thank you, Murdoch," said Dennis nervously. "We diesels don't need help. We are really useful and, dare I say, revolutionary." And he oiled away. Murdoch was very concerned. "I hope he doesn't get into too much trouble," he said to himself. Dennis collected some red coaches, a poultry van, and a livestock van from the yards, and set off. As he trundled along, he kept repeating to himself, "Chickens to market, sheep to the farm, and students to school," to remind him of what he needed to do. First, he collected the chickens from McCall's, then he collected the sheep from the valley, and finally he trundled into Marin Station to pick up the students. By this time, he was exhausted, but the teens' smiling faces made him feel better. Once Dennis had run round his train and the teens were all on board, he oiled away. As Dennis charged up Gordon's Hill, he started to pick up speed. It was a very heavy journey. His engine was pounding and his axles were aching, but Dennis kept going. "Chickens to market, sheep to the farm, students to school," Dennis panted. I'm sorry to say, but as he continued to rumble along, he grew more and more tired. He started to get confused, and when an engine gets confused, they get things all muddled up. "Sheep to market, students to the farm, chickens to school," yawned Dennis. His driver was too busy feeling tired himself to notice that his engine was mixing up his mind. When Dennis arrived at Wellsworth, he was very confused indeed. "Please unload the sheep," said Dennis. The yard manager was confused. "But our order calls for chickens," he said. "I think you got things all muddled up." "I said unload the sheep," snapped Dennis. Okay, geez, no need to shout. As the sheep were being unloaded, Emily arrived. She could see that Dennis was tired. Would you like some help? Asked Emily. No, thank you, wailed Dennis. Diesel engines don't need help. Now I really must be going, Daisy. Emily was shocked as Dennis oiled away. Daisy, she cried, he really does need help. The poor thing looks knackered. But Dennis was still being stubborn, and his drowse was making him quite irritable. When he reached Farmer McColl's farm, he told the students that it was their stop, so all the teens, seeing an opportunity to skip school, got off at the farm, and an exhausted Dennis rolled slowly away. Finally, Dennis arrived at the school. Only the chickens were left, so his driver unloaded the chickens and let them into the classroom, and Dennis traveled back to the sheds. Richard, Edward, and Gordon saw how tired he was as he trundled back into the sheds. You look rushed off your rails, said Richard. Have you been feeling all right? Never better, Henry, said Dennis quietly. Now I see what Emily was talking about, chuckled Edward. You didn't get enough sleep last night, did you? No, Edward, I didn't, groaned Dennis. But now that with my jobs done and dusted, I can finally get a nice long sleep. But just as he was about to close his eyes, Sir Topham had arrived. He did not look happy. Dennis, what on soldier are you playing at? He boomed. Oh, what have I done now? Asked the puzzled Dennis. Well, let me put it this way. The sheep have knocked over all the market stalls. The students are now at the farm, covered in mud and straw. And lastly, the principal told me that there are chickens all over the classrooms. Oh, dear. I'm sorry, sir, said an embarrassed Dennis. I've been working late and haven't had a decent rest in a whole week. I see, said Sir Topham Hatt. Well, this isn't entirely your fault. I should have noticed how tired you were and sent another engine. But why didn't you tell me this before? I wanted to show you how useful I was, sir. But asking for help is being really useful. Who said it wasn't? Gordon. He said a really useful engine never needs help. Oh, really? Laughed Edward. If that's true, then why am I always helping Gordon up the hill? Dennis was very embarrassed, but not as much as Gordon, who blushed a deep shade of red. Sir, if you want, puffed Edward, Richard and I can help Dennis put things right. I'd be happy to help, sir, Richard cut in. Then it's settled then, smiled Sir Topham Hatt. And so it was arranged. Richard took the sheep from the market to the farm, Edward took the chickens from the school to the market, and Dennis collected the students. Sorry, Dennis said to the students. I didn't mean to take you to the wrong place. We don't mind, said the students. We had a grand day out seeing the animals and learning all about the farm. And that night, when Dennis finally went to sleep, he dreamt about sheep and students and chickens.